encourages you to shop local in Norman this summer. Visit Cayman's on Main Street, your one-stop shopping for men's and women's clothing, accessories, designer jewelry, cosmetics, and home decor. Featuring Peter Millar, Johnny O, Rag & Bone, John Hardy, and much more at Cayman's. For fresh, delicious Italian dining, visit Gabarino's Homestyle Italian. For lunch, dinner, or takeaway, you are guaranteed to get amazing meals from scratch family recipes at Gabarino's. Hit the driving range or play around at the Westwood Golf Course. It's easy to book a tee time online, pick up a bucket of balls, or enjoy the delicious Turn Grill at Westwood Golf Course. When you shop local, you are supporting businesses that give back to community events, schools, sports, and local nonprofits. However you enjoy summer in Norman, remember to eat, shop, and play local.
Children who've experienced abuse or neglect face a frightening, profound unknown. Courtrooms, foster care, new schools. No child should face these alone. Trained and supported court-appointed special advocates or CASA volunteers advocate in court on behalf of these children. They stay with each child until the case is closed and the child is in a safe, permanent home. Volunteers make a life-changing difference, but more children need our help. Lend your voice and change a child's story today. Learn how you can help right here in your community. Visit southcentralcasa.org.
What do you do when the unexpected happens? Who do you turn to? Primrose Funeral Service in Norman will be by your side to help manage the many details surrounding your loved one's final arrangement. A funeral represents an opportunity for family and friends to reflect on the life of their loved one and to honor the memory of their life. Our compassionate staff has been providing the highest quality care for over 80 years. Please contact Primrose Funeral Service at 405-321-6000 or visit us online at primrosefuneralservice.com.
The Ref Radio Sports Network is powered statewide by the insurance adjusters at Brown O'Haver. Fire, wind, theft, or tornado, we can help. Call 405-735-5510. Live from the Buffalo Wild Wing Studios, it's time to get locked in to the best Sooner recruiting and football news with Tyler McComas and Parker Thune.
You better lock it up. You better lock it up. No, you lock it up. You lock it up. Lock it up.
Hit the guys up on the Riverwind Casino call-in line at 405-329-9000. Text the show on the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line at 405-651-3439.
Do it! Just do it!
Now, with Locked In, here's Tyler McComas and Parker Thune.
Anyone in the mood for a fun stat to start Thursday's show? Parker, can I interest you in a fun stat to start Thursday's show?
You can always interest me in a fun stat.
Well, I mean, we got to give an ode to the Rough Rider uniforms that apparently no more at the University of Oklahoma, right? So there is only one way that I know how to send out the Rough Rider uniforms in style, since we'll never see them again at OU. Let's talk about how successful they were in at least one game. There were some bad moments with those uniforms, but there was one moment that stands out above the rest. Here's the fun stat for you. Conference titles won in the last decade, all right? OU in the Rough Rider alternate uniforms won conference championship in the last decade. Texas in all of their uniforms, gaudy, god-awful burnt orange and white, just won. OU won as many conference championships in the last decade in its alternate uniforms than Texas did in all of its uniforms.
Let me correct you on that. They actually won two. They were wearing the Rough Rider alternates in 2018 in the Red River rematch against Texas, but they also wore them in the 2020 Big 12 championship game against Iowa State as well.
OU in alternate uniforms 2. Texas in all uniforms 1.
Just makes the stat even
My
juicier,
God, hey, but they're going to be the ones that roll the SEC. Haven't you heard? Haven't you heard they're going to be the team that controls the SEC, and my God, Texas is back. OU had some alternate uniforms that 80% of the fan base hated, and they still won more championships in those uniforms than they did Texas in all uniforms.
Let's do some quick trivia. You want to do some trivia?
Yeah, please.
The last time Oklahoma wore the cream Rough Rider uniforms.
Cream Rough Rider uniforms. I don't. I'm gonna get this is wrong. 2018 against West Virginia on the road.
No, 2022 versus West Virginia on the road. Would have been
normally
time.
The guess is just West Virginia. I swear they always wore
and
the Rough Riders.
They did always wear them against West Virginia. The last time they wore the red Rough Rider tops with the cream pants.
They went with the all-red 2017 against Iowa State, I want to say, which was one of those bad moments. But you're talking about the red with the
White
cream
pants.
pants. Gosh, hopefully it wasn't 2020 against Kansas State.
It's 2021 against West Virginia. So to your point, yes, it feels like they always wore them against West Virginia. Last time they wore the white tops, not cream, but white.
West Virginia. Got to be West Virginia.
It was that 2020 Big 12 championship game against Iowa State. And how about this? Last one. The last time they wore the all red.
2017 Iowa State is the last time I remember. Was that
You
it?
are correct.
Yeah.
That was I believe the first and only time they pulled off that look, which when you lose as a 30-plus point favorite at home in those uniforms, I'm not surprised when they never make a reappearance.
They should never have made an appearance again after that. Yeah, that was tough. I had the greatest moments and the worst moments for the Rough Riders. Kyler's 2018 or the 2018 win at West Virginia. Dude, that was a stressful game.
That was
Back
pretty
and forth
awesome.
the entire time. I think Caleb Kelly had a touchdown in that game. Hollywood Brown had a huge game. 2018, they wore the Road Rough Riders at West Virginia. That was a big game. I think they had to win that game to get into the Big 12 championship that year.
They did.
Over Will Greer and West Virginia. They win that one. And then, of course, that 2018 Big 12 championship game, 2020 Big 12 championship game. Those were three really good moments. The three bad moments, how about the 2020 home loss to Kansas State when OU had like two different 21-point leads? Remember they had the black stripe on the helmet that day?
Yes.
And then the 2017 loss to Iowa State, not great.
Miserable.
And, oh boy, one of the few times I've ever heard boos at Owen Field, the 2014 Baylor game. Remember that one, that catastrophe, the 2014
You
Baylor
know what?
game?
Fortunately,
oh my gosh.
I actually have no memory of that game.
Well, God bless you. I mean, it's good. Good for you, man.
None whatsoever.
That was bad.
Another tough one was West Virginia in 2022, which is the last time they wore that Rough Rider package, period. Of course, they lost on a walk-off field goal in Morgantown to a West Virginia team that was going to fire Neil Brown the next day. Neil Brown was fired after West Virginia got blown out by Oklahoma. Unfortunately, West Virginia not only did not get blown out by Oklahoma, they actually won the football game. Then Neil Brown turned around and won 9 games in 2023. So he's got a lot to thank Brent Venables in Oklahoma.
Well, he should be donating to OU's NIL, is what it sounds like to me. He just signed a 1-year contract extension in March of this year. Includes he'll be paid $4 million in each of the next 2 years. Maybe he gets a new deal. It sounds like West Virginia could be a sneaky good team this year. I mean, we'll see. But if Neil Brown gets a new contract extension, he owes OU at least $1 million for letting him keep that job. Because you're right, he was done if they lost that game. He was done. They ended up having a pretty good year last year when they go 8-4, I think, in the regular season. Got beat by Houston on a Hail Mary. Neil Brown owes OU money. That's what I'm saying, especially if he gets a new contract extension. But the big story today is the new throwback uniforms that OU will wear against Houston in Week 2. Is there anybody that doesn't like these? Right? When you're talking about throwback or alternate uniforms, normally you have a section of the fan base that's like, yeah, these are sweet. Then you have another section of the fan base that say, these are god-awful. What are we doing? We are watering down the proud history and tradition of Oklahoma football.
It's a very safe choice for a throwback package. Because, for instance, the Unity uniforms, when they rolled those out, there were a lot of people that loved it. There were a lot of people that hated it. I remember what the text line was like after they unveiled those Unity uniforms midway through the 2022 season. It was very divided because it is a look that is very unique across the thread history of Oklahoma athletics. You haven't really seen a look that remotely resembles the Unity uniforms. But this is a very conservative sounds like I think that it carries a negative connotation, but it's true. Like, this is a conservative look for a throwback
It's
package.
the way to
It's
make
clean.
everyone happy around
It
here.
is. It's exactly the way you make everyone happy. Keep it clean. Keep it authentic. I love what the university did recreating the old photos of Bud Wilkinson and his
really cool.
players. Like, that's the way, if you're going to go the throwback route, to make sure you please as many people as possible.
It's different, so you appease the younger section of the fan base that likes. So I like traditional. Like, I'm not a huge alternate type of uniform guy. Like, if OU and Alabama play this year or any year and someone's wearing an alternate uniform, I'm probably going to be pissed off. I want to see OU and Alabama wear their traditional uniform. That's just kind of how I am. So this is a way for, like, me as well. I'm happy with these because it is a new look. It's a throwback look, but they put a modern spin on an old uniform, essentially. And I just think it looks really good and it looks really cool.
And they had PJ model them.
Yeah, you like that? Yeah.
It's clear he's spent some time in the weight room this summer.
Yeah. Which, they're very similar to the 2003 throwback uniforms they wore. It's the numbers. I think the font of the numbers are different. You do have that SEC logo on it, which makes it look pretty cool as well. But bravo to OU, bravo to the social team out there with all the cool photos. And Brent's got to wear the Bud Wilkinson shirt for that game, right? That's one of the cooler photos that have emerged from today. That he had the old T-shirt that Bud Wilkinson used to wear. He's got to wear that for the game. Wear it for the game, Brent. Come on.
Somebody on the text line said he needs to keep it 100 and wear a suit and tie when that game rolls around. I was like, I don't know if
6:45 in early September.
I don't know if you could talk him into that on September 7th, 2024, given how hot it's probably going to be in Oklahoma that day. But that would be cool to see Brent Venables roaming the sideline in a suit and tie.
Text line's popping off here. Let's see what we got. I'm sure this is going to be fun today. Sioux City Sooner, we hated the unity because we became Woklahoma that day. Hot start. Let's go. Frisco Sooner, the all-red unis were no question the all-time ugliest uniforms of all time. They look like a men's slow-pitch softball team. One-star Chonky Chuck says the all-red where'd Chonky Chuck go? We should bring out a pink, brown, and lime green look for one game. Call it the coconut on the beach.
Maybe if you ever go play at Miami or
Chuck,
something.
I love you, man, but that's not going to go over well there.
In Oklahoma? Yeah, probably not.
Greg from Lawton, complaining about uniforms is a total waste of time. Can we just run the ball? Come on. And he throws in defense, which is I hear quite a bit there in Section 9 during the games. Suit and tie with a fedora hat, says Santa John. Sooner Soldier, anything but bring the wood uniforms. Sooner Co-Wetzel, 2014 Baylor was the first game for the Red Unis, but those was the Nikes. I was at that game, unfortunately, rumor has it. Baylor still running screenplays after screenplays.
The Mike Stoops era sure was fun, wasn't it?
You know, the uniforms are cool that they will be wearing for the Houston game, but you know as well as I do, everyone loves them right now. They will ultimately be remembered about how the team played in said uniforms. There is no reason this team should lose to Houston. Houston will not be a good football team this year. Maybe moving forward, they'll be a solid program with Willie Fritz. But at least as of right now, Houston is projected to be one of the worst, if not the worst team in the Big 12. So it'll be a complete and utter disaster if you do not play well in these uniforms and don't win that game in week 2.
A listener in Wisconsin says, I'm going to slap anyone's mama who hates these throwback uniforms. Cody from the Northeast Corner says, PJ looks like he replaced his biceps with thiceps. No joke. Camo Sooner adds, if they really want to wear throwbacks, bring back the 80s tearaway jerseys.
I'm all about that. If they want to do a throwback every single year to a different decade, like, fine by me. I think the tearaways would be sweet. What's the scuttlebutt on PJ? He looks great physically, and that's awesome and everything, but what's the scuttlebutt with him? Staying healthy, consistent?
He's staying healthy, staying consistent. Yeah, again, I really don't know how much you see of him early on. I would expect that Ethan Downs and Caden Woolard are your two starting defensive ends and that you see a lot of R. Mason Thomas as the third option, but it's never been a question of if with PJ. It's always been a question of when. Okay, when is he ready not just to play, but to be a force? If he morphs into a force with the gains that he's made in the weight room and the opportunity that's going to be afforded to him in this defense, especially in passing down situations to get after the quarterback, He has the potential to be a terrifying player very quickly.
Here's what I want to hear about PJ, and it's something that happened last year, and it happens early in the season as well. I think it was after the Cincinnati game. I want to hear that Brent Venables went back to Miguel Chavis on the team plane and said, hey, man, we got to play this guy more snaps. Because I think it was after the Cincinnati game, right?
It was.
When Brent was watching film of the game, and he went back and kind of like, hey, man, we got to play this guy more snaps. And Chavis is like, well, coach, he played like the second most snaps of anyone we had here. But that's what I want to hear, because at that time, and there was a time last season where it was, all right, maybe he's not starting, but PJ is really starting to give you high-level plays. And unfortunately, that dropped off as the season wore on. But that's what we want to hear, right? Early on in the season, that Brent is like demanding that this guy needs to be out there more.
Oh, here's a text from a listener down in Texas.
Uh-oh.
I have a question and some disappointment with where PJ is to this point at OU. Where do you guys see PJ on the depth chart this year? I personally feel like his recruitment was such a big get at edge for OU in years, but the fact that I keep hearing he's still possibly third string feels like he's been a miss as a five-star guy. I know he's young, but other five-star guys are usually starters at other schools. Can we not do this? After one season, can we not start calling PJ Adibawara a miss? He contributed as a freshman. He played meaningful snaps as a freshman. No, I wouldn't project him to start the season amongst the starting 11, but that's because you have a guy that was second-team All-Big 12 last year and a rising senior in Ethan Downs on one side, and a guy that was first-team All-MAC and had 9.5 sacks last year at Miami of Ohio and Caden Woolard on the other side. You're going to see plenty of PJ Adibawara this fall, and ultimately the best players are going to play the most. So if PJ hits the field as a sophomore and terrorizes opposing offensive tackles, you're going to see him more and more and more as the season progresses. There is absolutely no reason, and I get that 5 stars come in with high expectations. There is absolutely no reason to be throwing around the miss label with PJ Adibawara just because he is not a projected starter going into his sophomore year.
You went the very humble route reading that text, by the way, because you didn't read the first sentence. Love listening to you guys. Thank you. Thank you very much. Texter from the state of Texas, 832. Thank you very much for that.
It was kind of cut off on my screen. I didn't notice that first sentence.
405-651-3439 is the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line. We'll get back to that. What's going on at running back right now with OU and camp? And some recruiting as well. Keep it locked on the Ref.
What's up, Sooner fans? This is all-conference safety Billy Bowman, and you're listening to The Ref, the home of Sooner fans.
Tired of your current living situation? Now is the best time to make a move. Interest rates are dropping, and Home Creations is offering the best financing around with rates as low as 3.75%. This will save you hundreds per month on your brand new Home Creations home. Live like a champion today by calling Holly at 405-364-9999 for full details.
364-9999 Home Creations.
APR 6.411%.
Hey Sooner fans, get your kids into the game and behind the scenes by joining Sooner Kids Club today. Members get free admission to over 70 sporting events, discounted tickets to additional games, locker room tours, high-five lines, and other VIP experiences all year long. Plus, Sooner Kids Club members receive a replica football jersey, bucket hat, and other cool Sooners gear. Visit Soonersports.com/Kids Club to learn more and to join the official Kids Club of OU Athletics today.
Speaking of technology, did you know that RK Black is an authorized dealer for Kyocera copiers? And the Kyocera copiers aren't just copiers. They're smart devices that can scan, print, fax, and email your documents with ease and security. Even better, they're backed by RK Black's award-winning service team that is built on nearly 70 years of taking great care of our clients. Whether you need a desktop printer or a multifunction copier, RK Black has the right product for you. Let's get the conversation started. Give us a call at 943-9800 or visit us at rkblack.com.
Water is our most precious resource and something that should be conserved and used wisely. Here are some water conservation tips you can try. In the bathroom, if your shower can fill a 1-gallon bucket in less than 20 seconds, replace the shower head with a water-efficient one. They are cheap, easy to install, and can save you up to 750 gallons a month. Water is life. This message was brought to you by the City of Norman.
My mother was always very active and independent, and she was familiar with her neighborhood. But one day, she stopped at the stop sign for much longer than usual. She wasn't even really sure where she was at.
It's important for you to talk to someone about it. I felt so much better after my son told me, Mom, we'll figure it out.
When something feels different, it could be Alzheimer's. Now is the time to talk. Visit alz.org/ourstories to learn more. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
When you struggle with Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis, you get used to not feeling 100%. I thought that was how it had to be. Until I discovered the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation. They told me about new medications that weren't around back when I was diagnosed. They helped me find a specialist who gave me a new treatment plan. I'm feeling better than I ever thought I could. Don't settle for not feeling your best. Take action today to take care of yourself. Spill your guts. Learn more at spillyourguts.org.
Get hurt in the game? We tough it out. Feel exhausted? We push on. Feeling down? We pull ourselves up by the bootstraps. But there are times when bootstraps aren't enough. When stress gets to us and we need to talk to someone about what we're really going through. So we're going to reach out, because sometimes mental health is not a one-person job. Visit loveyourmindtoday.org. That's loveyourmindtoday.org. Brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
I'm Scarlett Johansson. My family relied on public assistance to help provide meals for us. These meals fueled my involvement in theater and the arts as a child, which fostered my love for acting. The Feeding America network of food banks helps millions of people put food on the table. You can join the movement to end hunger by donating, volunteering, and advocating. Because when people are fed, futures are nourished. Join the movement to end hunger at feedingamerica.org/actnow.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Locked in with McComas and Thune, live on the Ref. We are the home of Sooner fans. Tyler McComas, Parker Thune, and you, the Ref Army, listening worldwide via the free KREF app. Just search KREF in the App Store to listen to the Ref wherever you're at, on the go worldwide. London to England is tuned in today. Auckland, New Zealand, Knoxville, Tennessee, Tampa, Florida, Conroe, Texas, Clinton, Indiana, Walled Lake, Michigan, Sioux Center, Iowa, and Dewey, Oklahoma, all tuned in via the free KREF app. And our Ref Army locator is brought to you by Affordable Door Company, where they compromise on the price but not on the quality. Visit them online at affordabledoor.net or call 405-635-9499. Affordable Door Company, proud garage door sponsor of the Sooners and the Ref. It is Kentucky Day on our SEC Team Takeover. The first thing I think about when I think of Kentucky football is the Bluegrass Miracle back in 2002.
Oh, man.
When LSU completed a 74-yard bomb after then Kentucky coach Guy Morris got doused with the Gatorade bucket there. LSU scored with no time left to win.
Guy Morris, didn't he later resurface at Baylor?
He was the head coach at Baylor after that. That is correct. And some Kentucky fans did not realize that LSU scored on that play. So there were many, as LSU was celebrating on the field, there were many Kentucky fans that were attempting to tear down the field goal post. Oh, yeah. That is a bad realization probably a few minutes later. What do you think of when you think of Kentucky football?
I think of, and I guess the reason I think of this is because it's one of the very few Kentucky games that I have had reason to watch live. But back in 2007, they beat LSU, who would go on to win the national championship, in triple overtime. Stuffed LSU on a 4th and 2 in the third overtime to win that football game. I can't recall if that was in Death Valley or whether that was in
It was in Lexington because OU had a home game during that time, and our old season tickets when I was growing up was in Section 25. And there was like the club level. We were just enough to the club level. We weren't sitting in the club level. We weren't high rollers like that. But we sat close enough to the club level to be able to see a TV in the club level of that game. And they also had the score updates on the ribbon board. And I remember when it updated, you could see like the TV through the club level that Kentucky won that game. Andre Woodson, remember? He was the quarterback of LSU that year. And, yeah, they won that game in triple overtime. It's like, yeah, number 1 LSU goes down. They're out of the championship race. Well, they would lose again in the regular season and still win the national championship.
The only team in the 21st century to win a national championship having lost multiple games. Of course, that 2007 season was just utter chaos, start to finish.
I guess we can absolutely see a national champion moving forward in the next decade that has 2 regular season losses.
Yes, you probably will.
I mean, if you have 2 losses in the regular season, you may be hosting a first-round playoff game. We said that as much with OU yesterday.
Oh, man, what a crazy thought that is. But that's the world in which we're living. But, yeah, that is my most vivid memory of Kentucky football.
972, what are the odds of Taylor Tatum emerging to number 1 on the depth chart by the Tennessee game? I feel like that's pretty low.
Yes, no, not happening. Unless Gavin Sawchuk gets hurt.
Yeah, exactly. Taylor Tatum, I don't think that he's a 1 or a 2 option right now throughout training camp. But in fact, I would say if OU was playing a game right now, and we're 22 days out, by the way, OU's playing a game today, I would think it's probably Sawchuk and Barnes are your 1-2, followed by maybe Caleb Hicks is your 3rd. So Taylor Tatum's got some, and he's a true freshman, man. So that's fine. That doesn't mean that he's going to be some bad player or he can't contribute this year. You're bringing back a couple of running backs that this is their 3rd year in the system. It's a huge year for Barnes, and it seems like so far he's really taking advantage of the situation that he has. And Sawchuk, by all reports, is having a strong go of it as well. So, but yeah, I put it at a very low percentage that Tatum's your number 1 back by the Tennessee game.
Rec in Weatherford asks, is Peyton Bowen a starter game 1? No, I don't think Peyton Bowen is a starter, and he may not be a starter all season. And I think that's okay because he's going to play a ton of snaps one way or another. But if I had to project your starting 11, game 1 right now.
Oh, here we go.
Let's run through it here. On the defensive line, you have Ethan Downs, Dejon Terry, Dominic Williams, Caden Woolard.
No issue there.
Okay. Linebackers are Danny Stutzman and Kip Lewis.
No issue there.
Cornerbacks, Woody and Gentry.
Nope.
With Kendall Dolby at the Cheetah.
Yep.
And your starting safeties are Billy Bowman and Robert Spears-Jennings.
Nailed it.
Yeah. And Peyton Bowen is, for all intents and purposes, your 12th man because he can come off the bench in a variety of different ways. He can slide down to that Cheetah. He can play safety. If you need to go to a dime package, he's the first guy that's getting the call. So you're going to see a ton of Peyton Bowen. I don't know that he is, barring injury, I don't know that he will officially draw a start in 2024, though.
Yeah, and we have to remember that, they're going to run, and this is a good thing, by the way, they're going to be able to, with the depth that they have and the experience in the system, they're going to be able to run have a lot of different looks, whether 3-man, 4, whatever they want to do front-wise, but there's some certain situations where, they're absolutely going to have Peyton Bowen on the field. For sure. So that's good for your starting 11. I agree with all of those, but here's the deal, man, with this defense is they'll play that starting 11, but OU is going to play a lot of their 2 deep on a game in, game out basis. You're going to see I don't know, what do you think will be a normal number defensively for OU in a close game? More than 22 players overall defensively that see, decent snaps. We see it all the time. We saw it last year in the middle of a drive. Brent Venables, he's not scared to pull out a linebacker in the middle of the drive and throw someone else in.
He will be even less scared this year if it is true, as Venables told us Saturday, that there is less of a gap in talent and overall level of play between the first-team defense and the second-team defense here in 2024 than there was in 2023. So I would think Venables and that defensive staff are substituting pretty liberally. 918 listener said, is it time to consider Taylor Tatum a bust since as a 5-star he's not starting after 2 weeks?
That text obviously made us both laugh because I had that one ready to go as well if you didn't go to that one. So
That's a contender for text of the day, no doubt.
Bobby and BA, what is the previous history of number 1 running backs as freshmen? I did this a few months ago. I looked at the number 1 running backs for the past 10 years or so. I don't have that list anymore, but I think there's some really good history there and maybe some really bad history previously with number 1 running backs. But Taylor Tatum will have He'll have his chance to shine. I'm not worried about that. Chuck says, I love that Tatum is wearing number 8. It looks so crispy. Do you think number 8 for a running back looks crispy?
Who was the last OU running back to wear number 8?
Dom Whaley
was
wore
Dominic
8s,
Whaley?
right?
Was he the most recent one?
I can't think of another running back or
I
more
really
recently
can't
that's
either.
wore number 8s. 972 Jackson Arnold will be top 5 in the Heisman conversation if OU is 10-2 or better. He'll have some really good wins if they're 10-2 or better. It may take 11-1 or better, but 10-2, he's going to have some high-level moments and some big-time road wins.
And here's a really good text from EJ in Louisiana. The important thing to me is not who starts, but who's in the game during crunch time situations.
That's a great text, and that's so true. 100%.
And that is the reason why, even though I would not consider Peyton Bowen or PJ among the starting 11 to start the season, the reason they warrant so much discussion and so much hype and so much praise, the reason we talk so much about them, even though we would project them on the second team, is because when you get in crunch time situations, odds are those two dudes are going to be on the field in some capacity.
We have a whiskey bottle handy, rock and roll tequila something, because we're about to have to drink. 1-star Colin Claremore. Hey, guys, love the show. Did something happen at 14:30 a.m. in Tulsa?
Take a shot.
I feel like Cole's being funny there, is what I think there. That's what I think is going on. Someone else was asking on the text line about Jaden Gibson. I mean, there's nothing new there. We're just kind of waiting on some concrete information on what his availability is going to be. Hoping for really good news, but would you say at this point we're optimistic about good news happening?
We are less than optimistic. We are cynical about the possibility that we will receive good news regarding Jaden Gibson. Joe in Tulsa asks, on running downs with Desan out and Dolby being too small to play every down, who is playing Cheetah, Sammy or Kanik? Well, a couple things there. One, Desan McCullough is going to be healthy for week 1 at this rate. As long as there are no setbacks in his recovery process, he's not going to be out by the time the season starts. And secondly, is Kendall Dolby too small to play every down? Because the guy that I watched last year was out freaking standing in run support. And yes, he is small by most standards to play that position, but there was a reason he became Oklahoma's primary option at Cheetah down the stretch last season, and it was because, yes, I think Brent Venables would ideally love to have somebody with Desan McCullough's attributes playing that Cheetah spot.
Gotta be able to cover,
but Kendall Dolby was too freaking good to deny.
Yeah.
In every capacity. There was no weakness. There was no vulnerability to his game.
And again, Brent is throwing around the word could be elite this year when talking about Kendall Dolby. That's not something that Brent Venables does a whole lot of, is saying that anyone, has the potential or could be elite. So Kendall Dolby is your starting Cheetah, and I'm with you, man. I'm just not looking for different situations to take him out of the lineup. I want him in there as much as possible.
A 4 or 5 listener said, Desan good for week 1. He's in a full boot. Is he? That is news to me, if so, which I'm not dismissing that. But what Venables told us on Saturday seemed to indicate that McCullough, he called it not serious. He called the injury not serious. So when I hear not serious, I think, okay, that's not a long-term issue.
Let's hit a little recruiting before we hit the break, and just to let everyone know, not a whole lot's going on right now on the OU recruiting front. Less than 2 weeks now until Michael Fasusi's decision, but Mizzou did lose a 4-star wide receiver to UCF.
That they did.
You guys like that? Mizzou
I know you like
a 4-star receiver to UCF.
I know you love to see
I
that.
like that a lot. I've been committed to Missouri for a few months, but flipping his commitment to UCF. Smart kid.
John in Tulsa says, Dolby is on my I don't care, put him on the field list. Yep.
I'm with you, John.
I am with you, too.
John, I think we have the same list. I think we have the exact same list. 405-651-3439 is the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line. We got some fact or fictions to get to, some offensive line scuttlebutt to get to, and a whole lot more. Keep it locked on the Ref.
Join the movement. The Ref Army is growing. Don't miss a second of the Sooner coverage you want with the KREF app, the #1 source for Sooner fans.
Beats and Bites is back at Riverwind and better than ever.
Featuring food trucks, live music, and so much more. With the hottest acts this summer, like Dylan Scott,
passenger seat, windows down, dancing around.
And Connor Smith, September 1st.
Get your tickets online or at the box office for only $10.
This is Toby Rowland. Did you know that more than 80 million people depend on AM radio each month for news, weather, and emergency information? A new bill in Congress would make sure AM radio remains in cars because when cell and internet services go down, this far-reaching free service may be your only lifeline. Text AM to 52886 and tell Congress to support the AM Radio for Every Vehicle Act. This message is brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station. Messaging and data rates may apply.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. Perfectly imperfect. Beating in rhythm to the world you've created. But every time you drive after drinking, the music gets drowned out. Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzz driving is drunk driving. Don't drive buzzed. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
A special life deserves a fitting farewell. At Primrose Funeral Service, we have been compassionately serving families for over 80 years. Even if it's a long way off, when a future event is important, like a wedding or going to college, we plan for it. Planning for our own life celebration is no different. With pre-planning, Primrose can help eliminate the difficult decisions at a difficult time, because nobody should plan for a loss at the same time they're experiencing one. Contact Primrose Funeral Service at 405-321-6000 or visit online at primrosefuneralservice.com.
Discover a worry-free roofing experience with Kennedy Roofing, where you'll have a dedicated team with over 50 years of industry knowledge behind you. Tyler McComb is here proudly representing Kennedy Roofing, your go-to family-owned roofing experts located in the heart of OKC. Licensed and bonded in the state, they are committed to delivering top-tier service for projects large or small. Explore newroofok.com or call 405-704-3377 to secure your inspection today. Kennedy Roofing, where dedication to excellence starts and ends with their customers.
Get on board. The water is open. It's time to go boating and fishing and leave stress in our wake. Feel the wind as we ride and a fish on the line. Reel in our first catch and feel the sun at our backs. It's get out on the water season. It's time to get on board. Find out where to get on board near you. Visit Take Me Fishing and Discover Boating to learn more. And please recreate responsibly.
Get on board. Get on board. Impact of a meal goes well beyond feeding our bodies, because feeling full can sound like this.
How did the interview go? I did it! I got the job! I can't believe it!
And like this.
Mom, I got first place at the science fair with my volcano project.
That's amazing, sweetie. Congratulations.
Because when people are fed, futures are nourished, and everyone deserves to live a full life. Join the movement to end hunger at feedingamerica.org/act now. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Stand Up to Cancer asked leading cancer researchers to speak about why they do their work.
Two words come to mind for me. One is responsibility, the other is purpose.
It's just so inspiring to do research that impacts human lives.
Stand Up to Cancer has been a critical partner in advancing research for cancer.
Cancer research saves lives.
So please, help us fight in this battle against cancer.
Be a part of the team that ends cancer at standuptocancer.org.
Paul Bear Bryant became a coaching legend during his years at Texas A&M and decades at Alabama, but he received his first SEC head coaching job at the University of Kentucky in 1946. He coached at Kentucky through 1953 before departing for A&M, and in the 8 seasons as the Wildcats head coach, he recorded 60 wins and won the 1950 SEC championship with an 11-1 record.
The Bear. Did you ever watch Junction Boys? Tom Berenger played Bear Bryant when he was at Texas A&M.
I have not watched Junction Boys, no.
That was released back in like 2002, 2003, but the Bear was at Kentucky, and then Mark Stoops broke the Bears win record there at UK. Last season before, Mark Stoops now the all-time winningest head coach in Kentucky history. Unless they take some of those wins away for what was uncovered last week, but Mark Stoops, right now, all-time winningest head coach in Kentucky history. He passed the Bear.
That's how you know Kentucky is a very hard place to, A, win football games, and B, establish longevity when your school's all-time career leader in wins has 73.
Yeah. Any OU Kentucky recruiting battles in football that we can think of?
Offhand, I can't think of one.
I'd be pretty surprised if we have a lot of those moving forward. Not really in the same region. I don't really know where Kentucky's – I'm sure they want to recruit in-state, probably in the state of Tennessee, probably in the state of Ohio right there. They kind of stay within their region. I'm sure they try to dip down in the state of Florida a little bit as well, like every other SEC team, but wouldn't project a whole lot of OU Kentucky battles in recruiting here moving forward. Speaking of like regions of recruiting, I still haven't been able to play the new college football video game. I know, it's disappointing. But I played the old college football video game many of hours growing up, Online Dynasty, whatever. And while you were doing an Online Dynasty, each school had their pipeline states, you know?
Yes.
Where would we say right now in real life, not on the game, I don't know if they have that back on the game again, where would we say is OU's pipeline area with Brent Venables and this staff? Clearly your own state.
Yes.
Clearly the state of Texas.
Yes.
Would we say Kansas? Would we say the state of Florida? Like, where else could be considered a pipeline region or pipeline area for this program?
If there is a third beyond your own state and the state of Texas, I would probably say that Kansas City area. But even then, like, I think you're towing the line of the threshold to call it a pipeline for Oklahoma. I think what's been really impressive about what Venables and his staff have done on the recruiting trail through these first 3 cycles is that, yes, they're building the nucleus of their class in Oklahoma and in Texas. But occasionally, well, not occasionally, pretty regularly, they will go literally all over the map and pick off talented football players. Minnesota for Wyatt Gilmore.
Yeah.
Washington for Heath Ozida. New Jersey for Phil Pachotti and Logan Howland back in the 2023 cycle. Nebraska for Cade McIntyre.
And hopefully Christian Jones.
Yes. Trying to think what else. Obviously, they've gone out to Cali a couple times for guys like B.J. Brooks and Marcus Harris. So there's great geographical reach with this staff as far as what they've done on the recruiting trail and continue to do, but they haven't lost touch with what drives their strong recruiting efforts year in and year out, which is placing an emphasis on anybody within state lines and anybody that's in reasonable proximity to OU within the state of Texas, certainly that DFW Metroplex most prominently, and making sure that they have strong inroads there.
Rivals has an interesting fact or fiction out today, but I'll ask my own fact or fiction here.
Okay.
Fact or fiction, OU is going to land 2. They are going to land 2 of the 3 of Fasusi, Babalola, and Christian Jones.
Fact. My answer is fact.
Well, that will round out a very nice recruiting class and a top 10 class if that's the case. That's at least well, that's 2 top 100 players most likely is what that is. A 5-star and a 4-star.
Either way, that's 2 top 100 players.
Yes.
Because Fasusi right now is the number 10 player in the nation. Jones is the number 58 player in the nation. I think Babalola is somewhere like 81. So, anyway you slice it, you get 2 of the 3. You're adding a couple of top 100 players, including the guy that would be your highest-rated defensive commit in Christian Jones and potentially your highest-rated overall commit in Michael Fasusi.
One of the questions today was Tennessee's quarterback room is the best in the country. Fact or fiction? I immediately said fiction? Like, a little too soon on Nico? Like, I think the upside for him is pretty high, but am I ready to say that right now with Tennessee's quarterback room?
No.
Probably not.
Tennessee isn't even one of the schools that would be on the tip of my tongue.
Like, if Nico is really good and they get, and Faison Brandon is there next year, or like at any time if they're on the same roster, then okay, let's have that conversation. But Nico, I mean, has started like what, 1 game up to this point? Yeah, it's way too soon for that. I don't think it's Tennessee. Number 3 was Auburn is the hottest program on the recruiting trail right now, and both their guys said fact. Auburn's got some juice behind it right now on the recruiting front.
And Auburn is recruiting really, really well in state. And what's interesting is that's not coming at any detriment to Alabama. Because Alabama has a top 3 class in the nation. they don't have a single one of the top 10 prospects in their own state committed. Now, they might get one by the end of the cycle because Antonio Coleman keeps flipping to Alabama and then flipping back to Auburn and then flipping back. Like, he's flipped 4 times now. So who knows where he ends up signing. He's got quite the racket going because I would imagine he is collecting money from both schools for
Smart kid.
For his flips. But One Star KW918 adds, OU has a recruiting pipeline never seen before in the history of mankind. We own Texas. We own Kansas City. Hell, we even own Great Britain.
Great point, K-Dub. They own London. No one can beat OU in London. No one's ever beaten OU in London for a recruit. That is a fact. OU is 100% with recruits in London. Thank you, Daniel Lockenkumi. Appreciate that very much. By the way, the other fact or fiction was one or more of Texas' top 10 in-state prospects will sign with an in-state program. They both said fact, and I'm like, okay. You may be banking on Jonah Williams and Michael Fasusi to sign with Texas and in Texas A&M.
Yeah, well,
all right.
Michael Terry's got to be on that list too, right?
I didn't see any reference of Michael Terry on here.
Okay. And not Lockett either?
I don't know if is he top 10 in the state of Texas? I don't know if he is in the state.
Discrepancies between services, I suppose,
right?
Because I know he's a top 20 player in the country according to at least one service out there.
I think what Andrew Marsh is top 10 in Texas, and there's another crystal ball in today for Michigan that's there. But Ohio State's got like 2 top 10 players in the state of Texas.
Yeah, they've got Devin Sanchez and Riley Pettijohn.
Yeah, Ohio State's doing a nice job. They got a nice little lead right now for the #1 overall recruiting class. Let's get to one more text before we hit the break here. What is the story behind why 2 of the top 5 kids from Oklahoma for 26 are committed to Arkansas?
Well, because OU didn't recruit those 2 kids. That's really what it boils down to. They both wanted to commit early. Arkansas was willing to not only recruit and take them early, but pushed hard to do so. And so both Colton Yarbrough and Adam Austin, as things stand, they are Arkansas Razorbacks. But again, those are 2 guys that Oklahoma chose not to offer, chose not to pursue.
405-651-3439, Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line. And don't forget, we are live every single day from 2 to 3 on KREF Sports on YouTube. Go like and subscribe there. Final segment of Locked In coming up next.
The word is spreading, and the Ref Army is growing. Keep telling your friends and family that there's only one station for true Sooner fans, and that's the Ref Radio Sports Network, and worldwide on the KREF app.
Hey, Jeff, have I told you about the nightmare Jessica had at that big city dealership?
Oh boy, I can only imagine.
It was like something out of a bad movie.
Really? What happened?
Well, she found this amazing deal on a Blazer online at one of those dealerships.
Oh yeah, flashy with all the promises.
Mm-hmm, exactly. She was so excited, but when she got there, they hit her with the old bait and switch.
I've been hearing that a bunch lately.
They told her the car she wanted wasn't there, but guess what? It was. They just wanted to sell it for more than the online price. Then they tried to push a completely different vehicle.
Well, tell her to just come out here and see us at Knippelmeyer.
That's what I told her. She said she would, and she wouldn't go anywhere else from now on.
At Knippelmeyer, we don't play games. Our prices are up front, no gimmicks, just good honest deals like we've done for over 60 years. So don't make the same mistake Jessica did. For your next vehicle, come see us in Blanchard, give us a call at 405-485-3333, or check us out on the web at knippelmeyer.com. Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
The world is full of anchors, meant to keep you in place. But the good news is that it's also full of things that remind you not to let them. So every time you raise a Pacifico, let it be a reminder to live life anchors up.
Now that open enrollment for healthcare coverage has ended, there's still several options to consider that just might benefit you. Need to purchase your own health insurance? Confused about Medicare? Considering offering benefits to your employees? Call the agents at Allison Insurance, featuring 70-plus years of combined insurance business experience. They're able to help clients avoid mistakes when purchasing individual or group health insurance. Call Allison Insurance at 800-580-5587 or 745-2968. They are the experts.
Call the 12th Avenue Chick-fil-A in Norman at 405-310-3189 and let us prepare your party and celebration needs. As the official KREF tailgate sponsor, get your Chick-fil-A nugget, sandwich, or mac and cheese trays. It would be our pleasure to serve you, whether dining in, carrying out, catering, or delivering delightfulness to your front door. Boxed meals to nugget trays to gallons of lemonade and tea, we have plenty to offer for your next party or summer events. The 12th Avenue Chick-fil-A. Call 405-310-3189 and remember, eat more chicken.
My name is Corporal Bradley Joseph Seitz.
Jerry Reed.
Kate Weber.
These are real veterans facing a real challenge.
I have PTSD.
And I have PTSD.
I have PTSD.
Post-traumatic stress disorder can happen to anyone.
I was still in a war zone in my mind.
But treatment can turn your life around.
Treatment has really saved my life.
To learn about PTSD and how treatment can help you, call your local VA medical center or visit ptsd.va.gov.
We tend not to think about right now, but right now in front of us is victory over cancer. Right now, cancer research funded by the V Foundation is leading to better treatments and saving lives. When you give to the V Foundation, 100% of your donation goes directly to game-changing cancer research. Victory over cancer is there for the taking by you. Donate at V.org, because today's cancer research is tomorrow's victory.
Don't give up. Don't ever give up.
My mom has taken up going to the park to practice yoga.
My dad's going to a club, but not a book club, a salsa club.
Finding new hobbies comes with age.
My mom has started getting lost and not knowing where she's going.
Becoming lost or disoriented doesn't. Confusion with time or place may be a sign of Alzheimer's. An early diagnosis can help improve the quality of life for your loved one. Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's at 10signs.org. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
For decades, More Norman Tech has been training skilled and dedicated individuals, giving clear career paths to hundreds of graduates a year. These passionate individuals are the heartbeat of the Oklahoma workforce, serving thousands of companies that fuel this state's economy. Individuals like you. Here's to the next generation of entrepreneurs, craftsmen, and go-getters who will shape the future of this state. Oklahoma is powered by Career Tech.
I'm Gina Mitchell of Mitchell's Jewelry. Our cases are filled with new lines and new looks for game day. Our University of Oklahoma collection comes in gold and silver and can be purchased in-store or online. Plus, we have the most beautiful rubies and garnets to layer on for a look that's all your own. Come see us and get ready for some Sooner magic. Mitchell's Jewelry at 2201 West Main Street in the heart of Norman, or shop us online at mitchells-jewelry.com.
Dorsey Jones, Buick GMC in El Reno, bringing this hour of Locked In with McComas and Thune. Dorsey Jones is family-owned and operated, established in 2020, but many of their employees have been there for more than 20 years. Their low-pressure environment creates an enjoyable experience for everyone, and their sales staff is knowledgeable and eager to assist you before and after the buying process. They have all of that and incredible pricing as well at Dorsey Jones Buick GMC in El Reno. You know, Peyton Bowen made a comment, was it last week, that, hey, if he gets the opportunity to be a punt returner or just a returner in general, he'd be down for that. Now, Brent, a couple of weeks ago at the coaches' luncheon, really didn't give any names, just kind of essentially saying it's going to be an open competition at punt returner. Do we have a better idea, that we're not halfway through camp, but do we have a better idea who the main candidates are at punt returner?
One of the things I've learned over the years covering this team, Tyler, is that OU is very, very good. Regardless of who the coach has been, OU is very, very good at not tipping their hand in that regard, because they will have a bunch of different guys back there taking reps as punt returners and kick returners. And so you never really have a handle on who the A1 and A2 guys are going to be when the season starts. So I tend to think Deion Burks brings too much value for them to deploy him as a kick and punt returner. If they do, I think that'd be electric. But there are many amongst the fan base that are just not going to be super comfortable with OU running the risk of getting him hurt on a punt return or something like that, just knowing how valuable he's going to be to this offense. So
I wonder if the Jaden Gibson injury factors into that, thinking it all too with the coaching staff. Maybe it doesn't, but just a thought there.
We've seen a lot of Jalil Farouk returning kicks ever since.
Everyone will love that.
Well, and I think the only one he's ever really broken. He fumbled at the end of it against Tulsa. So, I don't know how popular that's going to be. But the guy I'm real intrigued with, though, is Zion Reagans, because he has a lot of experience from the high school level returning kicks and punts. The word is he might be the fastest player on the entire roster. And, yes, the asterisk next to all of that is that he's only 145 pounds for the time being, which I don't know if you can play, at least not very long at the collegiate level at that weight, so he will need to pack on some muscle. But if his only use as a freshman in 2024 is special teams, I still think he could be good for 3-4 explosive plays over the course of the season.
Cherokee Sooner says, can we get a KREF SEC logo on the backdrop behind you guys? Yeah, that'd look pretty sweet. KREF and little SEC logo back there. Can we keep the Ref home of Sooner fans, Cherokee Sooner? I think that would. I think that looked real nice. 918. I think the state of Florida could potentially be a pipeline. Boy, if it does turn into a pipeline, that's a good deal.
That is what you want.
Will it ever be a pipeline? It depends on what you consider a pipeline.
Yeah.
Will OU continue to get 1 to 3, maybe some years 4 players in a recruiting class from the state of Florida? Yeah, I think that's a very realistic possibility.
How many true Floridians have Venables and the staff signed so far? To my recollection, they got a whole bunch down the stretch in 2022. Guys like Marcus Strong, Jaden Gibson, Alton Tarber, R.I.P. He's not dead, just gone. In 2023, I think it was just Lewis Carter, and in 2024, I think it was just EPL.
Like, Phil Picciotti was technically Florida because he's at IMG, right?
Yeah,
Jaden Jackson, David Stone, of course. So you've gotten a few from the state of Florida. They're not natives there, but still it's not, David Stone was the Oklahoma kid, but it's not like the other two were Oklahoma kids as well. I mean, Phil Picciotti is out there on the East Coast, essentially. So whatever it is, like it's still impressive what they're doing in states.
You signed Floyd Boucard and you signed Cortez Mills, and obviously both of those guys are verbally committed here in the 2025 class. That will go a long way towards establishing the desired pipeline.
Normally for Text of the Day, I tend to focus on something that made us both laugh, something that was really funny, something that made fun of Mizzou, Texas, or someone else that we hate. But EJ from Louisiana made a really good point today. The important thing to me is not who starts, but who's in the game during crunch time moments.
Yeah.
Really get that star, EJ. Very good text. And the text of the day is brought to you by Hilton Garden Inn, OKC Bricktown, where Ref Armies, Ref Army members get 18% off of their stay at the Hilton Garden Inn, OKC Bricktown. Just mention KREF or tell them you are a member of the Ref Army. Any good O-line scuttlebutt here? The position battle is really starting to seemingly take place here. Branson Hickman at center versus Josh Bates at center.
I don't think that's much of a battle. No disrespect to Josh Bates. I think that job is Branson Hickman's.
If I had to guess, like the guy who has the best chance to start, and I think that there's a few guys who are probably really locked into their spots, but Febechi Wiwu, probably the guy above anyone else that's like, that guy's going to start.
Yeah, forget about that one. Right guard, there is no battle to be had there. That gig belongs to Febechi Wiwu.
Yeah. It is Kentucky Day on our SEC Team Takeover, brought to you by Ortho Central. We'll talk a little about Kentucky. We'll talk a lot about OU football for the next 3 hours. Keep it locked on the Ref.